both of them.
Do I need the charger? I might. Let me grab it really fast.
You got 28. You don't need it.
Why are you yelling?
I don't know.
No, you're fine.
What's up, Jordan? Hey, good morning.
Good morning. That's so exciting. Happy first live.
What's up, Brittany Megan Stoltz?
Students. Smoke rises from
Check,
the
check.
mountain.
What's up, Michelle?
Are you going live on this?
Oh, I thought I did.
What's this all
I
about?
was waiting. Sorry.
Who are you
Good
apologizing
morning.
to? Okay, check.
I thought I was live the whole time on Instagram.
Okay.
Hold on, wait for Instagram to catch up for a minute.
Good morning.
Hey, Savannah. What's up, Joy?
I don't think you probably saw the post this morning on Facebook or on Instagram, but
Hold on.
it was our sunrise this morning. You can't. There you go. That's cute.
Every time I see a
Good morning,
picture of
Michelle.
the view of our apartment, I think we're in like an Airbnb.
In Canada, Victoria,
Yeah, in Canada, or that time in
on the 12th floor.
Denver or Chicago or Dallas mostly.
Oh yeah, Dallas was really. I think
Yo,
of Canada.
Paul, what's
This reminds me of Canada, the place we stayed in Canada, which I loved. That Airbnb was rad. Are we ready?
Hello, check. What's up, Kenan?
Canon.
We got some work for you, man. Okay.
Ken, I was thinking about your brother today, and
Kurt Mo?
yeah, but Ken, I love you. I know you're going. I think he's going through something there. Grandmother passed away, I think.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, buddy.
So we love you, Kenan. Good morning, Rhonda.
Rhonda, what's up?
Okay, are we ready?
Okay.
Let's start.
What's
Here
up,
we
Christina?
go.
Okay.
Quit with the doodads here. Okay. Hello and welcome to the Anatomy of Marriage podcast. I'm your host, Melanie Studley.
Good morning. My name is Seth Studley. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. And today is day 74, titled Weekend Follow-Up, Season 1 Workbook, and I Am So Lonely.
If you're new here, welcome. We have 292 episodes about all things marriage related because marriage can be hard, but it can also be extremely amazing, and you've got to learn how to do that part.
That's right.
As always, our show is brought to you by Audible. You can get a free audiobook on us if you go to audibletrial.com/anatomy of marriage, and we really recommend that you do that. It helps us out, so if you want to help us out, that helps us out. But more importantly, it gives you an opportunity to learn something, have a good time listening to an audiobook, whatever, for totally free. So please check it out. audibletrial.com/anatomy of marriage.
That's right. And we are live on Instagram and Facebook, so send in your questions. And let's jump into it. All right, review of the day by Kelly Ford Taylor. My 5 stars, my new best friends. I love listening to Seth and Melanie. I listen while I'm at work. I started at the beginning 3 weeks ago and am almost up to date. I've got 2 co-workers that listen too. Love y'all. Keep doing good work. That's awesome.
Yes, thank you so much for that 5-star review.
It is.
I hope you have a job where you can listen to it because otherwise y'all in trouble.
I can listen to music. I can't listen to like Word podcast when I do
Word
notes and
podcast.
stuff. Yeah. So, all right, we're gonna jump into the thing. So,
Yeah.
Okay, our kid broke his arm Thursday night.
Yeah, we wanted to do a quick just weekend update because man, has it been cray.
Yeah, it's been cray. So we were at the skate park. He was riding his scooter. I wasn't riding this time.
I wasn't there. I was at home.
And our middle kid was in the bowl, so it's kind of cool. He was jamming around in the bowl, and I didn't see him, and somehow he slipped or something, and I think he landed on his scooter and broke his left arm, forearm radius, and ulna, just crunched it. And maybe you saw the pics on Instagram or Facebook. It was pretty gnarly because it was like bent up and weird and just mangled.
You want to know what Pamela said?
What?
She goes, I am so surprised it didn't puncture his skin.
Ugh,
Can you imagine if
fracture.
it had like actually broke? I mean, I don't think he would have passed out.
Yeah, that's
sure.
very
It was
pass-outable.
Really traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
But so Seth was at the park. Continue.
Then went to the park and then rushed him home. Kids were yelling. Also, Hattie was with us and things were crazy. So I went to the ER and spent a lot of the time there. Then I took the kids home and Melanie stayed with
Well, you
them.
weren't at the ER. I was at the ER.
Well,
you
no, I was
came
there.
here,
right.
and I took the van, and you stayed here with the other kids because he was screaming his head off, like fully freaking out. And I'm talking like if you've seen Harry Potter when what's his name tries to fix his broken arm, and all of a sudden his bone is gone, and his arm's flopping around. It was very similar vibe to that. Like it was so gross looking, and Tuff was just screaming like the whole van ride there. That's why we left the other kids here because it was like very traumatic. And he was, but it was kind of funny. So don't just hear me out. We were in the van and I'm like, hyper stressed out mom mode. Like my kid has broken his arm. This is so stressful. He's already, he's had a hard time dealing with stuff anyway. And he's in the back seat going, I'm not going to make it. And then he goes, Lord have mercy.
He said that.
He did. And I was like, it was so funny, but it was also like traumatic.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah. You say, Lord have mercy, and I'm not going to make it.
Hanging around my mom too much.
So that was kind of funny, but it was really crappy. But so anyway, we got to the ER, and thank God it was like every planet aligned. Like we got in right away. There was there was a ton of people in the ER waiting room. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to sit here for 2 hours.
No, they like tier your stuff up. Like when a kid is just like...
Oh yeah, I know that. But so anyway, we went straight into the the triage thing, and then he got to his room right away. But it was, and this was when Seth wasn't here. It was just me and Tuff. And they were like, because he just kept saying, please give me medicine, please give me pain medicine. But he kept saying, give me laughing gas. I don't know why. Like
because from the
dentist, but he doesn't get laughing gas. I don't know. But anyway, so he was just insisting that laughing gas was what he wanted, and so the nurses are trying to tell him you need an IV to get your medicine, and he's like, I don't want an IV. I mean, he was freaking out, and so then there's me, all these nurses, and thank God they were like big men. Like they were. One was not military. He was like a Navy person or whatever. And he had served for like 12 years. And so he, like, between all these dudes, had eventually got him to actually get the IV, which was like Trauma City. And so once we got that, he had morphine and was fine in like 7 minutes. But then they had to like reset his arm and do all that stuff. And so it was a lot. It was a lot. It was not just like the trauma of breaking an arm. It was like the trauma of your kid thinking people are trying to kill them and like not yelling, but almost yelling at the staff and just being like super aggro to them. And like the men are all irritated that this kid won't just like listen. And so it was a lot.
It's parents' fault.
And then when we got home at like midnight. So then the next morning he felt better and felt cool for about like 5 hours, but then he realized like, oh, I can't swim. I can't play my Switch. I can't ride the motorcycle. I can't ride my scooter. I can't. So then it was like a depression set in that equals anger and depression mixed. And so it has been a lot. It was already a lot before he broke his arm.
Yeah.
And now it's more a lot. But so that's an update.
We're dealing.
Yeah. We got to do.
I don't know, but we're dealing. So, all right, let's go.
I think it's good.
So, I'm trying to fill out the AOM workbook. I know that Here, you read it.
Apparently we're transitioning to questions right away. I'm trying to fill out the AOM workbook, but I know that I will have to delete all of my answers to rewrite them before I show my husband. It's nothing I haven't told him before, but he seems to think that once something is said, it should be forgotten. I'm not even talking about anything that either of us has done, just terrible communication and a complete disconnect in our views of this marriage. He said last night that he is, quote, just really good at being thankful for everything, and that he is happy. I asked him why he looks miserable and acts like his life is drudgery. He laughed at me and said I wasn't paying attention. His words don't align with his behavior at all. He has no explanation except that I am wrong. In the past, I have sunk into depression because I couldn't overcome his aura of complete despondency. Seriously, it's like living with Eeyore. Only when I have one foot out the door, as in ready for divorce, will he admit that he has negative feelings. It's not that I want to fight about things, but I do want some sort of human connection. I don't feel like he's honest with me, and I know I can't be honest with him. I've tried to be happy with our roommate with occasional benefits arrangement, but I am so extraordinarily lonely. He is a very good husband and father in every way. I don't suspect any extramarital activities or anything like that. I just want a relationship. Am I trying to bleed a turnip? That's a funny sentence. Is it unfair to want a friendship with my husband? And he took the Enneagram test and scored so evenly on the numbers that we still don't know what he is. I'm a 5, but very, very similar to a 1. Maybe I want too much. So this is a great question, and I asked to make sure if I could ask this because it's from the women's group, and the person who sent it in said yes, but please emphasize that he is a really amazing husband. And so I wanted to say, like, if you think that your wife is talking about you, she also thinks you're an amazing husband. And it says, I really feel like he's not doing anything wrong. I just want to be closer to him and not blame him, is what she said. So do you have any thoughts on that right away? Because I think that is sort of reminds me of our relationship.
Yeah, I thought of that too.
But in the inverse, like I'm Eeyore.
Yeah, and...
So why don't you answer that first?
Well, I don't know. What would you say to her from like the Eeyore perspective? Because I would kind of like resonate with her, so I don't know if I can help her so much. But like the times that we've had conversations about that, you're just like, well, what do you want me to be? What do you want me to change? I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like sometimes it's just nothing almost.
Well, explain what that was like. So give clarification, because people probably don't understand what you mean. Like, how was I before? Or what is my propensity?
Just to, I don't know, just live and kind of do your own thing and not be super engaging, I guess. And it does feel lonely. Like you can wake up and just not say anything. I'm like, good morning, hello, kind of thing. And you said it a couple days ago. You're like, we just slept together all night side by side. I'm like, yeah, but we're both unconscious. You know, it's like you also get surgery when you're unconscious. You don't know what's going on, right? You see what I'm saying? So I can understand what she's saying, and I don't want to be like, I have felt that too, because I think I can wake up and if I don't like do something, it's weird. It's really weird. Like the conversations that we've had about like you trying to be the emotional caretaker of everything. With the kids, I understand you saying that, but on the same side, like I really think that I'm like the kind of like fun person in the relationship.
Oh, you are for
and
sure.
Like if I don't,
in a certain way,
if I don't say good morning or I love you or smile or touch you or do that other relational stuff, then it won't happen. And then that's really discouraging to me because I'm like, well, I'm just doing it. And when I do those things, there's not much of a response. So it's like, why am I even doing this? And then it gets lonely. So I can understand what this woman is saying. And yeah, it's weird.
Well, what advice would you give? Not just it's weird.
I don't know what advice to give because I don't know what to do in my own situation.
Do you feel like it's still that way now?
So yeah.
So the thing that comes to mind, like you said, here's what I'm thinking. That you said something like, I can't overcome his aura of complete despondency. I'm hearing a pattern in this that is the same pattern that you've done with me, is that instead of inviting me to something, like happiness and fun is neutral, and you're inviting me to join you at happiness and fun, you often do this. Why aren't you happy and fun? Normal people are happy and fun. And so you're... I
think I get to that point after I've done stuff, and then I'm like, what's the deal? So it's not I don't start out with that. It's like the 5th time of
But hear me out.
invitation.
But I don't think that it is that. It's not a non-judgmental invitation to doing something different together. Let me say it like that. Because what in the past what has happened, and what I think is happening here, just based on the way she's saying everything, like it's like living with Eeyore, like he's this in a funk all the time, like there's a and I get it, like she's putting a judgment on it, but there's a way that you can like, do you see what I mean when I'm saying non-judgmental? Like it makes me not want to engage with you when you're passing judgment when I don't do those things in the first place. So for example, waking up and saying good morning. If I don't say good morning to you, you get this weird like, oh, what? You can't, like it's a judgment there. Like you could say good morning to me. No big deal. Like we can do that. That's not the end of the world if you have to say good morning. Invite me to a space. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I also am aware of it. So I will work on getting to that space as well. Mm-hmm. But it's the space of like connection, intimacy, intentionality. It's separate from one of you. It's, you know what I mean? It's not held in either one. Like you think it's all in you. You go, I'm the fun one. Come and join me come and join me where I'm at. Mm-hmm. But it's not in you. Like it's over here. Mm-hmm. And when you make me feel like I'm like Eeyore and I'm not on your team and then you want me to join you, like that feels like I'm not going to do that. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Does that, what
would you say to her?
That's the first thing, and I would say it to you too. Like, you don't need to judge what, because even she said something like, I can't overcome his aura of complete despondency. Mm-hmm. And then he said...
maybe part of that is like, and I'll say this to myself as I say it to her, like, I don't know, DM me and let's talk about it so we can like work on it together. Maybe it's like, let's find our happiness no matter what our partner does or doesn't do. That's hard to do, but part of me is like, okay, well, I'm going to find mine without you, kind of thing. Part
that
of it
is actually like, quite important.
So it is important, but part of it is like, see, that's the thing. Well, because oftentimes I've been like, fine, I don't need you. And I'm like, kind of like resentful around that.
Start with peacefully not needing me.
Right.
That is that's being centered. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's where I feel like, that's how I feel. Like, mm-hmm. And I'm not saying be like me, but like I feel I don't need you. I choose you. Mm-hmm. And so I don't need to, and yes, I know I need to grow in this area. So for sure, I'm not saying I'm great at it. Like, hear me flat out saying I'm not good at this. I even told you last night, mm-hmm. I'm not good at this. But I don't need you to make me happy. Mm-hmm. I enjoy when you make me happy. Mm-hmm. And that's where there's a shift in neediness, a shift in presence. Like, when you can say, I am whole and complete without my wife's participation, mm-hmm. but when she joins me, how cool.
Yeah, and we've had conversations about that before, because I definitely tend to be like, I can do anything alone. I don't need anyone, right? And I've done that forever, right? However, that's not kind of balanced, and that doesn't put you, it doesn't make you feel needed or connected, right? Mm-hmm. So I think there's some of the same dynamic going on maybe with this couple too. Somebody says, I do also think that the sandwich method would help here. Start by complimenting the person on something they're doing really well, and then point out something for improvement, but end with another positive note. Mm-hmm. That way the conversation stays positive and constructive. Yes.
That's great.
The sandwich method, we talked about that before. Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, you can get that on anatomyofmarriage.com. It's the AOM sandwich method. That's a mm-hmm. really, really great insight. Thank you for sharing that. But I did want to say, like, you're talking about, here's what I really think is happening. Like, you're interpreting your husband's behavior, and your interpretation is not exactly correct. And why I'm saying that is Seth has done this forever. He's thought, oh, Melanie's sitting there at the table, she must hate life. And then you're putting meaning into something, right? We had mm-hmm. this like a giant conversation about this the other day, where it was like, you're putting meaning onto the way I see the world, mm-hmm. and you will never understand the way that I see the world. So in my world, steady, even, balanced, right in the center is the best place to be. I can be fun and exciting and happy or whatever, but steady and balanced in the center, think things over before you do them, don't make impulsive decisions. That's what I value. Like, I value that deeply at my core. A lot of that looks calm. A lot of it looks really boring to you. So you value, like, I mean, you have lots of very similar core values, but you value, like, if you're laughing and going somewhere and on an adventure, that's valuable. Like, there's a sense of novelty is really valuable to you. But in my world, the sense of novelty, that's okay sometimes, but let's actually get the savings fund for our kids' college. Let's actually get the down payment to the whatever. You know what I mean? Like, there's a boringness to what I find really valuable. Mm-hmm. But what you see when you look at me is, gosh, she doesn't care about anything. Mm-hmm. But what that really means is, she doesn't care about parties, being crazy, flying all over the world. And so you're putting meaning on my value system, mm-hmm. which only ever makes you feel bad. It only ever makes you think, I don't like anything, I'm boring, I'm whatever, because you're trying to put meaning on it. And it's just a different way of being than he is. And so I think that's what I'm seeing. I think the wife is trying, and so how would you respond to that? Like, the wife is trying to make meaning of her husband's behavior and make him admit that he's unhappy or whatever. And in a way, I think that's such a weird and not helpful invitation to growth, right?
Maybe it's, so I'll liken it to our situation. Like, I have certain characteristics about myself that I think are good, right? However, they're honestly absolutely different from yours, and you mostly point out why I shouldn't be this way, and like then I infer like, oh, okay, yeah, like we were talking about last night, like, you know, I think you're like on a level up here, and then I'm just on a level down here, sort of, but maybe the reality of that is like, I'm completely different from you, right?
The sun and the moon, that's the analogy I said last night.
So I'm completely different from you. You're going to say stuff or do stuff or whatever. And this is going to sound rude, but basically I shouldn't listen to it anymore and be like, okay, you're fine. You're like, you're the good things about you are here, but like you're just talking out the side of your mouth right now. But the time that you do that really kind of messes me up and makes me second guess every single thing in my life, and I'm like, well, great, you know, cuss word. And then hold on, and then so it's more like, it's like, okay, I am what I am, and you are what you are, and that's fine. And just because you have ideas or opinions about this, sure, it needs to be balanced. Doesn't mean that I am not right for being that way or thinking that way.
Yeah,
right?
and I would say this.
But you are the worst person in the history of the world to say that in a way that's...
You heard it on this show, folks. I'm the worst person in the history
of the world.
world.
Well, no, you really are. Is nice and stuff. And so, like, I literally have to be like, I am absolutely not listening to anything that you say about this, because if I do, I will infer all this negative stuff and be like, okay, that's Melanie. I'm not going to get resentful. I'm not going to get weird. But she has zero idea what she's talking about right now. And that's her. That's fine. But that has nothing to do with me. And that's her opinion. So I'm going to be whatever. And this can be related to this person. Like, okay, I think you made a good point. Like, this lady wants him to admit, like, yeah, I have malaise, I'm depressed, or like, I'm just not unhappy.
I'm so stupid.
Right. But it's like, you need him to do that to make you feel something, and just be like, okay, that's him. Sure, I'm going to do me kind of thing. Not in a weird way, where I'm going to go spend a bunch of money and like, you know, step out or, you know, be weird or whatever. It's like, he do him, he do him, I'll do me kind of thing. And I think we had a conversation like that a while back. It's like, I have obviously certain interests. Like, one is like speaking and writing on mental health stuff in Indian country, and hunting and stuff. It's like, that's mine. You don't have to do those things, you know, but you have to let me do those things, and you can do whatever you want to do, and I can accept that. You know what I'm saying? I'm always telling you to like go somewhere, do something, go with your friends, whatever. But sometimes you choose not to, and then I'm like, well, okay, if she wants to, that's fine, kind of thing. It's like, you are your own person, I am my own person completely, and what does that actually look like, kind of thing. And this might be related to these people's stories.
Yeah. Well, and
somebody is saying, my husband and I take a weekend getaway every couple of months just to stay the night in a new town. Oops, it went away. Just to stay the night in a new town and check out the local stuff. It forces him to get out and have fun with me while satisfying my need.
I love that idea.
That's a good idea. It's a huge struggle for me and want to do things with my husband when he thinks I should he consistently shows his disappointed in me. It doesn't motivate me to do things for him at all. I feel like he gives me a huge list of to-dos. What do I do to overcome that mindset? And all I can do is complete the checklist. Yeah. So the thing that I want to point out really fast is, a second ago you said, when I talk to you that way, you just shouldn't listen. You should go, that's just Melanie, and I just shouldn't listen, right? It's the exact same feeling when you do loads of things that you do. And that's why I've said for years, I'm like, that's just how Seth is.
he buys different things and we don't need them and he won't take care of them, but that's just how Seth is. I'm not angry. Like, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying when I say that? Like, I'm not angry. Like, you can go ahead and do those things, but I don't prefer that you do them because they don't line up with kind of our shared marriage goals. So that's where I think there's got to be a differentiation and a delineation of what the shared goal is. Like, it sounds like she's wanting more connection. She says it at the very end. Like, I feel so lonely. So if you're wanting connection, let's find a way to make the connection. Not how do we blame the partner for being Eeyore. That's not going to get you the connection that you want. How does Pooh get connection with Eeyore? They go on a walk, right? They go somewhere. They go do something. They do Pooh sticks or whatever that game is on the bridge. And I think that's where I think the next phase comes into. I think there just needs to be an acceptance. Like Seth said, we had this big conversation last night about all this stuff. And he was like, you're up here and I'm down here. And I'm like, that's not how I see it. I see you and I like the sun and the moon. Like, and maybe I'm the moon, you're the sun. Like, you like to party and be crazy and buy stuff and go places. And I am the opposite of that. Like, I like to stay home. I like to save money. I like to be like frugal with stuff. I value those things. And we are two different parts of like a whole system. We need the sun and we need the moon, right? And I think that if we can look at it that way and we say, where are the times when we overlap and we can enjoy one another, instead of saying, gosh, why aren't you more like me? Why can't you be like the moon right now? Why can't you just like the dark and the cold? I mean, that's a perfect analogy, even that. I hate summer. I don't like being in the sun. I just don't enjoy it at all. Our kids, some of them don't like it. Some of them do. So it's really interesting. But I think if we can figure out where we overlap, like, I don't need a fruit salad. I don't need to fruit smoothie you, right? Like, we can be the sun and the moon. It's not better or different or worse. It's not better or worse. It's just different. And then we need to figure out how we go on our walk with Eeyore. Not tell Eeyore he sucks or tell me that I'm dumb, right? Does that make sense? And so I think it's a third place. It's like an inviting in of a different way of connecting. Not saying, oh, you're so bad at connecting. I'm leaving. Which I'm not saying you're doing that, but it is. I don't know. Just you can't judge how someone else is. You just can't, and you can't impart meaning. Like when your husband is sitting quietly, you might think, oh, he hates everything. He doesn't love me. He's not helping. He's not this. He's not that. Which I think you do this with me. When your husband might be sitting there going, I'm really thankful right now. I'm really happy. But he's quiet. He doesn't have to like do a ham horn and dance around, right? Does that make sense? You don't seem convinced.
No, I think in theory it works, but I'm, like a lot of times you say things and I think of all the examples of like, well, it wasn't that way a million times. You know what I'm saying? And so that's kind of hard for me to hear what you're saying. It like makes sense. It's like, well, yeah, 1 + 1 = 2. But we've had millions of arguments when you were like saying, no, it's 3. I'm like, but you're saying it's 2 right now, kind of thing. I get caught up in that, and I'm like,
well, I will go.
Sounds good, but it's not really practiced, I think, and that's what I'm thinking right now. I think, and then also sometimes I don't have the energy, and I don't want to be in conflict, so I just be like, well, I'm not gonna argue that, and then kind of get ambivalent about it. And I don't know if this person does either. Well, maybe she does. It sounds like it is. But that does end up feeling very lonely. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, you're saying all this stuff, and it's like, it's not adding up. But then when I argue, then you just argue more, and I don't like to argue, so I'm like, whatever about it. No, I'm not whatever. I'm just like, that's sad and lonely. You know what I'm saying? And maybe this person also feels that way.
Yeah, I don't know how to help that. I guess what I am saying is that even in so this question went back to clearing structure. Let's go, or not clearing structure, sorry, season 1 workbook.
Oh, right.
So I want to go there for a second because I think this is important. So she's saying, I want to do the workbook, but I have to delete all my answers before he sees it. So what I'm thinking is that your answers are probably your feelings about, your interpretation about his behavior. Does that make sense? Which the clearing structure is for. So I'm talking about 2 different things right now. You're talking about the workbook. I'm talking about the clearing structure. So I would suggest doing the workbook while using the clearing structure to do the answers. Does that make sense? So that you can decipher which is which while you're doing it. Which is which is like the meaning you're interpreting, and which is his actual behavior that you don't want. Because that's where I think our biggest dissonance lies, is that I get irritated at you for behaviors that don't line up with our long-term family and marriage goal. Behaviors like buying and selling cars regularly, that's not like financially wise, and it doesn't line up with our long-term goal. I don't care if you want to do it all day long. You can become a car salesman. I do not care. No judgment on it. But when it impacts the goal that we have set as a family and for our kids and stuff, do you see what I'm saying? It's not my judgment on your behavior. I don't care. Do whatever you want. So that's how I decipher what to get upset about and not to get upset about. That's how I determine, is this impacting our long-term goal, or is it just something Seth likes to do? If it's something you like to do, fine. But if it's impacting our goal as a family, not fine. Does that make sense? And then, and I think conversely, you could do the same thing. Like, is it impacting our goal as a family if I'm like Eeyore? If it is, feel free to tell me and say, and that's what I was saying earlier, that third thing. It's like, it's a third thing. It's not, you're so stupid, you like to buy cars, or Melanie, you're so dumb, you're Eeyore. It's, this is our family goal. This is our marriage goal. How can we both like put our best foot forward to this goal? And if the behavior, like Melanie, I would love it if you hugged me more. That would get us to our family goal, kind of a vibe. Instead of judging, like being like, oh, well, you're never going to do it. You haven't done it in the past. Blah, 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 blah. Like that's, you know what I mean? Does that feel different if I say it that way?
Yeah, I like the idea of doing the workbook through the clearing structures. Basically, you're just answering with I statements.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about other people. It's just focused on you, what you want, what you can do, and how you can affect the situation. So that's a good thing. So we have to wrap it up because I got to call the
orthopedic
doctor's office
surgeon
when it opens. So you wanted to give a quick thing to that, right?
Oh, I did want to say there is a podcast called The Hidden Brain, and there is an episode called When Did Marriage Become So Hard? It's really good. My neighbor shared it with me the other day. I'll try to remember to post it, but it talks about a lot of different things that I think y'all would love. So go listen to The Hidden Brain, When Did Marriage Become So Hard? I'll try to post it. But this is, I don't know, I'm really thankful for this question. Hopefully our conversation made sense. I don't know if I don't get the vibe that you were vibing with what I was saying. But I think it's important though that we don't, I really think it's important that we don't try to judge and put meaning on what our partner does, because we will always be wrong. You will always, I can't put meaning on what Seth does. I will always be wrong. I will never get it right because we are not the same person. We're the sun and the moon, and we are not the same, but we are both valuable and bring value. But I would say invite a lunar eclipse, a solar eclipse, I don't know. Invite some third thing where you're meeting together and it's different, and you're not saying, oh, the sun is so stupid, why is it so hot? The moon is so dumb, why does it like the dark? Like you're saying, no, this is where we actually interplay and work together. And that's where I would want to be energized and find you energized, and you can meet me there. Because that's a different goal. Does that make sense? I don't know. I feel like you hate my existence. I'm interpreting how you view things right now.
Yeah. So let's talk about that quickly because I'm going to make a phone call.
But yes, so there is nothing, we don't need to do anything else. But if you are enjoying the podcast, please rate and review it on iTunes. Thank you to everyone who's rated and reviewed it lately. It's been very helpful, and we love to read your stuff on the show every day when we do it. And please share the show with your friends. That's one of the best ways to get the word out there. It's just helpful. They trust you way more than they trust two strangers they've never met before.
Right.
So share the show with your friends. Were you going to say something?
No.
Okay, sorry. Seth is trying to transition into a different phase, so we just gotta all go along.
All right. No,
all right.
I'm thinking about casts and stuff like that.
Calling, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Have a good day. See you tomorrow morning.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye.